bikes are something that, we need. Having a group that actually educated you on how to navigate that well was also important. So that's where Take Back the Streets is all about active transportation for everybody. And that goes for those that have, all ability to different abilities.
Take Back the Streets mission statement is active transportation for all. So active transportation is when you use your body physically to get somewhere. And so for all, that includes people of all abilities.
What I love about Take Back the Streets is that it allows people to engage with nature and get outdoors and also learn about what it takes to get on two wheels and take in your community. It allows you to understand the importance of health and fitness, the importance of knowing your community and how to get around, the importance of making sure that you appreciate what nature has to offer. So it's certainly threefold, but it's a wonderful program. He'd be happy with where it is now. I will start by saying that he would want everyone on bikes, riding, knowing how to care for their bikes, ditching their cars for bikes, having the community and businesses and government on board with being able to ride your bike to a store and safely store it and lock it so that you can shop or do whatever you need to do and get back to your destination. He would want businesses on board so people could bike to work, get that bike to work and store it. These are things, this is the life that he created for himself. He would bike to work, have a place to store his bike and bike clothes and be able to change into his professional attire and then change back and ride home. These are things that he did every day, and he was hoping that other people in the community could create safe spaces. Gary always had the same Midwestern city feel that any community would have. So if you travel, you know that if you are on the East Coast, not having a car doesn't matter. You probably use mass transit and there's not a stigma associated to it. But in the Midwest, it's different. You typically own a car and get from point A to point B when you live in the Midwest. And that certainly applies to Gary, Indiana. And so if you ride the bus, there's a stigma that you're in this low economic class system, that you can't afford a car. And I do know that the Gary Public Transit has worked really hard to try to erase that stigma, but their main goal is to just make sure that people across the region are able to get outside of Gary into different places that they need to get. But that's certainly been a challenge when it comes to just getting around.
What was the driving force with Take Back the Streets was that, number one, a lot of us knew that transportation was a huge issue, still is a huge issue in the city of Gary. And if you have to go places from work to even your basic services, how are you going to get there? The other thing we understand is that getting an automobile can be quite expensive. And so having a not only active way to be able to be transported, but also just be able to get to your necessities.
Sometimes cycling and transportation funding and infrastructure is a hard sell in general. But if you look at the actual statistics, it helps a community be healthier. It helps people have more independence, be able to go and participate in their communities and actually be able to work, whether it's employment or volunteer. Limited access to mobility and to actually gain entrance to places is a much bigger issue than people realize, and how it impacts community health, because then it also impacts, whether you're on government insurance or you have your own insurance, mental health, wellness, the environment. It just really is a butterfly effect item that is often overlooked. So it impacts people of all ages, it's intergenerational. It impacts people of all different socioeconomic backgrounds. It really serves, especially like young people who need access to a bike to be able to go to school or work, or say someone who has never had a license or lost their license for some reason, but they still want to be part of society. It also helps people who want to work on their health, like me. It helps me keep my heart rate up. It helps me show my child, an active mom, a health at any size. That's one of the greatest things about cycling, right? You can be any shape and size and still cycle. We have a pretty big problem with pollution in Gary. Like, it's a lot of inherited things from the Industrial Revolution. You know, we're in the Rust Belt. So we actually also help positively impact our environment by riding bicycles as well. We have several goals with Take Bike the Streets. The main ones that we've been focusing on is bringing awareness to communities across Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland of all the opportunities we have available for active transit, whether it's our trails. That's one of the few things that actually really unites our Tri-County area. So we're talking Lake, Porter, and LaPorte County. We also want people to understand the concept of universal design and why it's the best way to do new projects. And when I say universal design, really, I think it should be called just good design. It's when you start with everyone in mind from the beginning. So even simple things like, a lot of times folks are like, oh my gosh, doing a ramp and a staircase is extra money, it's extra maintenance. But we always just say, why not just do a ramp? Everyone can use a ramp, whether you're using a bike or a wheelchair or just your legs. So ideas like that where it actually can bring a budget down. So we work with activities with that and activism. Things like helping the South Shore actually get bike access allowed, uniting bus schedules and routes that are more preferable for everyone to use. And then we also focus on actually getting bikes to people.
Most of the parts that are existing on it would have to be replaced. And so it's just not worth what we'd have to put into it in parts and labor to make it a complete bike again. So I'm just taking whatever I can off of it that's useful, and then the rest of it's going to go in that dumpster.
So we just put these bikes out here, and then there's going to be a gentleman that might come and get them and scrap them.
Yes, definitely.
And that's just kind of circle of life around here?
Circle of life, economic development.
Yeah.
and also just the opportunity not to waste resources, because
Yep.
there's people who utilize it.
Upcycling.
Absolutely. No pun intended.
Right?
Save them to put on other bikes that use them for, the spare parts somebody brings in a bike and needs, like the pedals or the brakes or something like that. We can just get in that parts bin and get the parts out.
I can't fix this whole bike because I don't have a front wheel for it right now. But right now, I'm going to put this brake shoe back on.
What does a brake shoe do?
So a brake shoe hits the edge of the rim, creates friction, and slows down the wheel.
I think one of the major things that we did that was sort of different from other programs is that we launched the trainings online as well as in person. So those that were more tactical, could come in and actually learn, but actually having the ability to, from anywhere, people can gain access to trainings, and they can do it at their own leisure. They could do it at any point on demand. It also opens us up to other entities coming in and being able to provide those services. One of the other things is increasing the amount of educational instruction, and really, I look at it as support. So I did not have the patience to teach my kid. And what we do with Take Bike the Streets is teach kids how to ride bikes.
You got it! You got it! Yay! Good job, Lily! First ride! Awesome! Being a big girl! Yeah! Woo! Good job! There we go!
And teach adults, because there's a lot of adults that don't know how to ride bikes. So we actually do that. And I think it's increasing that instruction so people can do it even on demand so they don't feel embarrassed.
Someone had a great idea and it just kind of fell together and gradually built. There was a gentleman named Ken Parr who was part of our community organization as a volunteer, and he just had a passion for biking.
As a kid growing up, I remember him being my tennis coach, teaching me that sport. He was active in JCs and did volleyball with them. And as a young adult, we would ride bikes together throughout Northwest Indiana. But he wanted other people to get on two wheels and go and be healthy. And he felt like the Northwest Indiana area was prime and perfect for getting around. He originally started out as a bike messenger in Chicago, Illinois. Then he, for recreational purposes and for his main mode of transportation, a lot of times he would just ride his bike. He was a school teacher, and so he would ride from the school and back instead of using his car. He was just that much interested in riding bikes. So when he retired, began to continue to establish himself in the Miller area of Gary. He wanted to create a program that would offer people an opportunity to learn about bikes and enjoy them. And so he opened his own bike shop and began to repair them, share them, that kind of thing, and teach people all about riding. But he wanted it so that everyone would understand bikes, appreciate bikes. He thought that it was a way to make you feel better. A lot of times if I told him I wasn't feeling well, he'd say, you need to ride your bike, and that'll fix everything. That'll change everything. And so and a lot of times I would say, no, that's not the answer. But he really believed that it brought you peace and satisfaction, as well as, allowed it to be economical as well. So he really believed that it was a definite and for sure part of the ecosystem of life.
The funny thing about the folks that come to Build a Bike is they come from all backgrounds, and that's what I love. And they may not agree about everything, whether it's socially, politically, religiously. Like, we're talking about diversity at its true heart, but they have this one uniting factor with the public transit and the active transit. And so they can leave everything behind and just focus on a task. And that is a uniting factor, which I just love about Build a Bike.
Jess has identified and connected with a number of people that actually love what they do. And they just have been looking for an outlet. They've been looking for a place where they can help. And Take Back the Streets gives them that space where they can help, know that they're giving back, and people actually appreciate it.
So inside, this is the tire. Inside the tire is a tube, like a balloon, okay? And we're gonna inflate it. Oh gosh! So we're gonna stick this.
Hey, what you doing, mister?
We're gonna stick this on here. Fixed on. And then we're going to flip it up. Okay? Now, how you doing today? Can you do that for me?
Getting a bike for the kids.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I was out at the pantry and Janice wasn't giving up and banging on my door in my window.
So now,
she wasn't giving up.
Put your feet on that. Okay.
She got
Hold
me
your
up.
feet.
She did.
Yep, that foot. And then the other foot.
Put your other foot on the other side, baby.
The other foot.
Other foot on that side. There you
Push
go.
down.
Push.
There we go. Yeah. That's a good job for someone with energy.
People that, like I said, work hard, but they want to give back. And even if they don't have anything right then, they find something to give back. They find something to bring, whether it's snacks, whether it's, other people, whether it's donation of bikes, whether, it's so many different things.
Our littlest today. How old is she? 1?
18 months.
18 months, learning how to pump a bike tire.
Come on, keep going.
There we go.
Keep going. Keep going.
So strong.
We're looking for something bigger because he had outgrown his BMX. So they donated his little BMX bike and I was able to put him on a boys mountain bike. But the cool thing is another kid and his dad showed up looking for a BMX bike for, an 8 or 9 year old. And the one that they were donating, this other family was donating, went straight to the other kid that showed up. And it was like, it was a good thing.
It's just meant to be. That's perfect.
I didn't have any little boys BMX bikes ready to go, so.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome. That's Build a Bike in a nutshell.
Helps, in my opinion, raise up the economy. So if people can get around to jobs, can be able to go to different places to spend money, to enjoy their community by utilizing active transportation, affects the bottom line, you know, as far as what we're bringing into the city, monetary wise.
Now, yeah, clock struck 12:20. Link up with his mentor, he can make money. Dude's no dummy, he knows somebody's about to get.